She needed a boyfriend for 40 seconds. He gave her 3 days.
I want to start by saying that I am not a person who lies. I return the extra dollar. I tell hairdressers the truth. When my sister asks if the dress is doing what she wants it to do, I tell her, gently, that it is not. So when I tell you that the whole thing started with a lie, I need you to understand how unlike me that was. I think that's part of why it worked. I was so bad at it that nobody, including for about 10 seconds, me, could quite believe what I just said. It was the Calder Group's annual industry conference in Phoenix in October, and I had been dreading it for 6 weeks for one specific reason: Marcus. Marcus and I dated for a year and a half. It ended the way these things end when nobody does anything wrong and it still doesn't work. Slowly, then all at once, then a lot of careful logistics about whose friends got which weekend. We hadn't spoken in 8 months. I'd heard, secondhand, that he was seeing someone. I told myself, repeatedly, that I was fine with this. I was, for the record, mostly fine with this. I was less fine with the idea of him walking up to me at a conference in front of 300 people while I was standing alone holding a name badge and a glass of warm white wine and asking how I'd been. I told myself I'd just avoid him. The Phoenix Convention Center is enormous. The odds were in my favor. The odds were not in my favor. It happened on the first evening at the welcome reception, 11 minutes after I arrived. I saw him before he saw me, across the room in a gray suit, laughing at something, looking exactly the way he always looked, which was the problem, because I had spent 8 months getting used to him not looking like anything, anywhere, ever. And now here he was, looking like himself, in a room I was also in. I did the thing you do. I turned slightly. I became extremely interested in the cheese. And then I heard, behind me, Eleanor? Not Marcus. Worse, somehow. His new girlfriend. I'd seen her photo exactly once on someone's social media, and I had the specific dread of someone who has memorized a face they were never supposed to need to recognize. "Hi," I said, with the brightness of a woman who has had 4 seconds to prepare. "Hi, sorry, I'm Eleanor, yes. I'm Priya. Marcus is he's right over there. He'd love to say hi." And he was already turning. He'd seen me. There was no version of the next 90 seconds that didn't involve all 3 of us standing in a triangle holding small plates. And I felt something in my chest do the thing it does before a fire alarm goes off. And I looked, instinctively, for an exit. There wasn't one. There was a man standing about 4 feet to my left, reading the back of a name badge with the polite blankness of someone who has just walked into a conversation he has no stake in. I did not think. That's important. There was no plan. My brain simply reached for the nearest available fact that would end this conversation. And the nearest available fact happened to be wearing a navy jacket and standing within arm's reach. "Sorry," I said to Priya. "I'm just going to... My boyfriend's right there, actually. I should..." And I put my hand on the man's arm. The man turned around. It was Adam Reyes. I need to explain who Adam Reyes was to me at that point because it makes the next part funnier and also worse. Adam and I had worked at the same firm for 2 years. We were not friends. We were not enemies exactly. We were 2 people whose job functions intersected at exactly the points where things go wrong, which meant every interaction we'd had was some version of a problem. He ran client delivery, I ran resourcing. When a project needed more hours than it had been budgeted for, I was the person who said no. And Adam was the person whose projects always needed more hours. And so for 2 years, Adam Reyes and I had communicated almost exclusively through emails that began with "following up" and ended with "thanks," in a tone that made it very clear thanks was not what was meant. I had never had a personal conversation with Adam Reyes. I knew he was good at his job because the clients loved him and the budgets hated him. I knew he had a dog because once on a call, the dog had barked, and Adam had said, without missing a beat, "That's the auditor," and not explained further. That was the entire sum of my knowledge of Adam Reyes when I put my hand on his arm and announced to my ex-boyfriend's new girlfriend that he was my boyfriend. He turned around, he looked at my hand, he looked at my face, and then, and I have thought about this moment more than almost any other moment of my life, he smiled, put his arm around me like we'd done this 1,000 times, and said, "Hi, sorry, I got held up at the bar. Did I miss anything?" There is a version of this story where Adam says nothing, where he just looks confused, where Marcus arrives and the whole thing collapses in 4 seconds, and I have to explain to a man I dated for 18 months and the woman who replaced me that I just grabbed a stranger and called him my boyfriend because I panicked. That is not the version that happened. I want to be clear about how close it came to being that version, though. I felt him register the hand on his arm. I felt the half second where his brain processed, "I do not know this person, and this person is touching me, and something is happening." I have relived that half second. It is one of the more remarkable half seconds I have witnessed in another human being, because at the end of it, he simply decided to be my boyfriend, with no further information, in front of strangers. Because, as he told me much later, "You looked like someone who needed a boyfriend in the next 2 seconds, and I figured I'd find out why eventually." "Marcus," I said. "Priya, this is Adam." "Hey," said Adam, with the easy warmth of a man meeting his girlfriend's ex for the first time, which, again, he was not, but you would not have known it. "Eleanor's told me, well, some things." Marcus looked at Adam. Marcus looked at me. Something complicated happened in Marcus's face. Something that involved recalibrating 18 months of a relationship in real time against the fact that I appeared to have moved on, thoroughly, with a man who had his arm around me with the specific ease of long familiarity. "Good to meet you," Marcus said, in the voice of a man who was going to think about this later. "Likewise," said Adam. Priya, mercifully, was the kind of person who actually wanted everyone to be fine, and she said something about the cheese being surprisingly good for a conference, and somehow, I genuinely do not know how, we were having a 4-person conversation about cheese, and it lasted 6 minutes, and then Marcus and Priya were pulled away by someone from their firm, and Adam and I were left standing there, his arms still around me, both of us watching them go. He took his arm back. "So," he said, following up. We went to the bar. I bought him a drink because it seemed like the minimum required by the circumstances, and we sat at a small table near the window, and I told him the whole thing. The ex, the timing, the panic, the cheese. He listened with the expression of a man being told an excellent story, which, in fairness, it was. "Okay," he said when I was done. "Couple of issues." "I know." 1. That was the best acting I've ever done, and I want that acknowledged. Acknowledged. 2. And I think this is the bigger one. We're at this thing for 3 days, and from what you've described, your ex is not the kind of guy who's going to see his ex-girlfriend's new boyfriend exactly once and never think about it again. He's going to want to, observe, compare. I had not thought that far ahead. I had been entirely focused on getting through the next 90 seconds, and the next 90 seconds had somehow become the entire rest of the conference. "Oh no," I said. "Yeah, oh no." "So here's what I'm thinking," Adam said, leaning back with the relaxed posture of a man solving a much smaller problem than the one I was experiencing. "Either we say it was a joke, right now, tonight, and you spend the rest of the conference being the woman who had a breakdown at the welcome reception, don't. Or we just keep going, for 3 days, We work together, we know enough about each other's jobs to fake the rest, and frankly, he gestured vaguely at the room, half the people here already think we hate each other, so this is going to be the better story regardless. I looked at him. You'd do that? Eleanor, I have been in 11 budget meetings with you. I have watched you argue a client out of a scope change with a straight face for 40 minutes. I think you can survive a fake boyfriend for a long weekend. I think I can survive it. It's basically the same skill set. He had a point. I hated that he had a point. Okay, I said. Ground rules. Always ground rules with you. Ground rules, Adam. He grinned and got out his phone, and we spent the next 40 minutes building a relationship from scratch. How long we'd been together? 4 months, he said. Long enough to be real, short enough that nobody expects us to know each other's middle names. Where we'd met. Here, I said. We say we met here, last year, and it's funny because at the actual one last year, we had that fight about the Hendricks account. We did have a great fight about the Hendricks account, he agreed. Whether we lived together. God, no, we both said, at the same time, with so much feeling that we had to stop and laugh. By the end of it, I had a fake relationship history more detailed than some of my real ones, and a strange, light feeling in my chest that I told myself was relief. The next morning, I found out about the room. There had been, the front desk explained, an error with the room block. Too many singles booked, not enough doubles, an overflow situation that had apparently been resolved for several couples and couples by simply combining bookings. Adam and I, evidently, were now one of those couples. There's a sofa bed, the front desk attendant said, with a specific cheer of someone delivering bad news as though it were good news. It's actually very comfortable. We get a lot of compliments. I called Adam from the hallway. So, I said, update. I already know, he said. I'm standing outside the room. There's a key card situation. Apparently we're now also living together. We are not telling anyone we're living together. I'm aware, I'm just saying. For a relationship that started yesterday, we are moving very fast. Here is the thing about spending 3 days pretending to be in a relationship with someone. You find out a great deal about them, very quickly. Because you are constructing a shared reality together multiple times a day under mild pressure. I learned that Adam was, off the clock, much funnier than he was on it. That the dryness I'd always read as impatience in emails was, in person, something closer to deadpan. And that once he wasn't fighting me over hours, he was one of the easiest people I'd ever talked to. I learned that he took his coffee the same complicated way I did, which neither of us mentioned until the second morning, when we were both standing at the same hotel coffee station, doing the same 3 extra steps to it, looked at each other, and just quietly adjusted our story to include, we have the same coffee order, which is how we first started talking, because it was, conveniently, true. And I learned that he was good, genuinely good, at making people feel like the most interesting person in the room, and that when he did it to me, as part of the act, it took me an embarrassingly long time each time to remember it was an act. And I learned, on the second evening at the conference dinner, seated across from Marcus and Priya, because of course we were, that the version of me Adam described when people asked how we met, she ran resourcing, I ran delivery, we fought about everything for 2 years, and then one day I realized I was just really looking forward to the fights, was not technically a lie. He'd added, and then I realized, to a true story. That was the entire fabrication. One clause. I looked at him across the table when he said it. He was looking at Marcus, doing the bit. But for 1 second, his eyes flicked to me, and there was something underneath the performance that wasn't performance at all. And I felt the floor of the conversation shift very slightly under my feet. I told myself it was the wine. The third night, the last night, there was a final reception on the hotel's rooftop terrace, string lights, a jazz trio, and by then, Marcus and Priya had stopped being a problem. They'd relaxed around us. At one point, Priya asked me, unprompted, how Adam and I had survived being work enemies for 2 years before this, and I found myself telling her the true version, the actual true version, the budget emails, the following up, all of it. And she laughed so hard she had to put her drink down. And Adam, next to me, was laughing too, at himself, easily. In a way I don't think the version of him from 2 years of budget emails would have been able to do. "You guys are so cute," Priya said, meaning it. "Genuinely, I love this for you." "Thanks," I said. Adam didn't say anything. He put his arm around me. The same gesture from the first night, except this time there was no audience he needed to convince. Priya had already moved on to talking to someone else. Marcus was at the bar, and I realized, standing there, his arm around me, the string lights, the jazz trio doing something slow, that nobody was watching us anymore, and his arm was still there. I turned my head slightly. He was looking down at me, not performing, just looking. "Hey," I said quietly. "Nobody's watching." "I know," he said. He didn't move his arm. We ended up on the balcony off the rooftop terrace, away from the noise, looking out at the lights of Phoenix, which from that high up looked like something spilled and glittering. "So," I said after a while, 4 months. 4 months, he agreed. Same coffee order. Same coffee order. The Hendricks fight. "The Hendricks fight was real," he said. "I want that on the record. I was right about the Hendricks account." "You were not right about the Hendricks account." "I was eventually right about the Hendricks account." "That's not how being right works, Adam." "Following up," he said. And I laughed and he smiled, and for a second we were just two people who'd had 2 years of email arguments, laughing about it on a balcony. And it was easy and warm, and I didn't want it to end. I think that's the moment I understood what I was actually feeling, underneath the relief, underneath the fake relationship, underneath all of it. I wasn't relieved that the lie had worked. I was disappointed that it was almost over. "Can I ask you something?" I said. "Sure." "When I grabbed your arm that first night, you didn't know me, not really. We'd had, 100 emails, 2 years, all of them about money, and you just went with it, immediately. Why?" He thought about it, actually thought about it, which I appreciated. He didn't have a smooth answer ready, which told me something. "Honestly," he said, "I think I've been hoping for an excuse to talk to you that wasn't about a budget for about a year. And then you grabbed my arm and said boyfriend, and some part of my brain just went, well, there it is." I didn't say anything for a moment. "That's a very efficient way to ask someone out," I said finally, hijacking their evening and assigning them a relationship. I didn't say it was my plan, I said I went with yours. My plan was a panic response to my ex-boyfriend's girlfriend. And it worked out great for me, so, he shrugged. I'm not going to overthink the mechanism. Here's what I want to say at the end of this about why I'm telling it. It would be a cleaner story if I told you the conference ended, we went back to our normal jobs, the budget emails resumed, and nothing came of it. People would like that story too. But that's not what happened. We flew home on the same flight, booked together as part of the cover, before either of us had any real reason to want to sit next to each other for 2 hours. And somewhere over New Mexico, Adam reached over and took my hand. Not for anyone watching, just because it was there. I let him, and neither of us said anything about it, and that was that. We told people the truth eventually. The real version, the arm grab, the cheese, the sofa bed, the 4 months that weren't real until they were. People liked the true version even better. It has the thing in it that the cover story didn't. the part where neither of us planned it and it happened anyway. Adam still says, sometimes, when something goes well that neither of us expected, following up, and I still laugh every time. And I think that's probably how you know. Not the grand gesture, not the rooftop, although the rooftop was nice, the small thing that keeps being funny 2 years later because it's still true. Which, I've learned, is sometimes the whole relationship, right there in 2 words.